let's see what we have to offer here. So first thing that's worth noting is Classic in this matchup is one of the very few Protosses that does not send out an early probe to block this natural base. He always gateway scouts, which is something that I don't like. I think it's always worth sending out the scout very early on to block the natural base. Um, it will force the Zerg player to take his second base at a third base location. That's gonna create some well, not long distance mining, but the drones have to travel a little bit further, going from the main to the third base. And it just offers you good like very early game harassment, and you're getting a super early scout on whether or not it is an early pool or stuff like that. I really only see benefits. The one downside is, of course, you're sending out so early, you're losing mining time yourself with a very early probe. But that one equals out, and just the fact that it puts pressure on the Zerg early on, like keeping him on its toes, makes it worth it in my opinion. But Classic, he just really doesn't do it ever. We see now everything standard so far. Solo was able to take his natural, not at a third base location. Usually it would be this one that the Zerg players take it at. But he's happy and content with his natural base in his natural location. See Stargate coming down from Classic, which is his preferred style in the matchup. Standard timing for the third base of the Zerg player. And so far, just probes being chrono boosted. Overlord is having a look. As long as there's no stalker coming out of this gateway, which he will confirm just when this adept is gonna pop out, he's gonna head further into the main base to get a scout on this the Stargate. We see an Oracle first out of the Stargate, which is also something that Classic does that not a whole lot of other Protosses do. Usually they open up with a Void Ray first, but small deviation. This way, this Overlord is going to live longer, and that's putting the Oracle in a position where it wants to get a few drones, but Solar setup here looking really solid with the Spore Crawler finishing up in time, 2 queens in position. There are no drones yet at this third base, so this one's pretty much protected, and Spore Crawler and 2 queens in the main base as well. So this Oracle has to be careful. It has been revealed now, so it really has to pay attention to not lose a whole lot of actual HP. And yeah, I mean, not die in the first place. That's the important one. Yeah, but Classic doesn't even commit. It's just chilling here for the time being. Oh, okay. Finds 1, 2, 3, 2.5 probes at this third base location for a second. So really nice timing here. Also gets the creep denial. So gets more than I had anticipated with the Oracle. And we don't even see a second unit out of... Did we see a second unit? Okay, we had 1 Void Ray coming out of that Stargate. And now straight into Twilight Council and Robo. And that to me looks like, yep, a glaive opening. So the third base for the Protoss is decently early with this opening. And the Zerg player is going to have a hard time figuring out that this is still a pretty committed adept timing. Yeah, he's already warping more adepts in the background here. Meanwhile, the Oracle getting... Oh no, the Void Ray actually getting 2 more probes. Oh, now quite a huge chunk of links on this third base, and that might lead to Classic having to reveal his additional adepts, which is not something that he wants to do. If only there was a shield battery here, that the Adept at the third base would have lived forever. This Oracle living on the edge now got 6 kills. Oh, and now Solar knows. Now Solar knows about all the Adept. He stopped droning at 55, only producing units now, and this is very, very committed from Classic. Trying to shade through. Is he gonna let the shade finish? Oh, he lets the shade finish. Only Zerglings. Ah, a few roaches here as well. So not the trade that the Adepts were looking for. Shading further in. Getting a few drones here, but not the damage he was looking for quite yet. Adepts are shading through. Into the mineral line now, but not just yet targeting drones. Now they're targeting drones. They're starting to get more damage done. But is this enough damage? Okay, it's up to 15 drones now being killed. 16, 17. Okay, so very nice damage. He continued his pro production behind this. And he's got a decent army of sentries and immortals now, so yeah. And Solar off of this decides to just drone back up just a tiny bit, but now moving out with his queens. But I think this is a bit of a fake out here. Behind this he's droning, he's putting up a baneling nest. So I don't think Solar is going to commit to this queen walk. It's also just 3 queens, by the way, so no. Just trying to fake out Classic here a little bit. And Classic should figure this out anytime now and try to get into a better tech army. He has started his +1 now, so got that going for him, which is nice. Yeah. Classic now spots the 4th base and spots drones going there, so he knows that at least for a little bit Solar droned up again. And he's gonna go into that blink style. Gonna move out now without any further updates. There are still Adepts in this army, which are obviously upgraded. Baneling's morphing now, so these Banelings will finish up for this push. Let's see what Classic can get done here. He's opening up these rocks, which is something that I don't like. Up on this high ground position, you have a very easy time fighting Banelings, but obviously, yeah, you need to get your army down here. And he's actually committing onto creep. Baneling speed is not yet done. What is happening here? Ling run by at the 3rd base, and now main engagement. Banelings being force fielded off for the time being, but no further force fields coming down. And now all the sentry energy is gone. Still a lot of immortals and Adepts left, but where's the Ward Prism reinforcing up here with Stalkers? And it looks like for the moment, Classic breaking through, but he's taken damage at home, so he has to kind of make this one work here. And it looks like with the reinforcement, Solar is able to clear this out. Yeah, the Protoss is just getting overrun here. The reinforcements are not going to be able to deal with all the Roach Ravager on the ground. Blink is not even done for the Stalkers, and that is going to be a very tough position for Solar. He shades some Adepts through, so maybe gets a little bit more drone damage, but nope, recognizes that it's just not enough. Something is wrong with my hotkey profile as well, by the way, so my observing might be just a tiny bit shaky. I hope that I can fix that at some point during the stream, during the cast. But let's introduce our players for the time being. In the top right corner, for Kaisi Gaming, it is Solar, up 1-0 in the series. And in the bottom left corner, trying out a very committed 3-base build on the last map. For Alpha X, it's Classic. Once again with his trademark Gateway Scout. Already talked about that one in the last map, so I'm not going to go on about how much I dislike this again. I guess Classic just values the mining time that he gets from having his earlier probes. Maybe he thinks his builds are a tiny bit tighter that way. And it is true that you get your Nexus a little bit quicker and your Cybercore a little bit quicker just from having those additional earlier minerals. But so, on the other side, the Zerg also has absolute freedom in his build. Let's see what's gonna come out of Classic this time around. So 2000 atmospheres. For the Zerg side, not the best map for Queen Marches. It's a bit of a weird rush distance due to these rocks in the middle of the map, and then the Protoss has either this ramp or this ramp to yeah, defend the high ground and prevent the Zerg from getting up there. So 2000 atmospheres is one of the worst maps for that kind of style, but it's still a very good build, which can work on any map if the Protoss is underprepared. We once again see the Store Gauge from Classic. Soldier seems to be super well prepared for these Oracle first openings, not skipping any spores or delaying them by too much. Always has 2 queens in position. The only reason he took some damage on the last map there is because Classic kind of caught him in the transition to the third base, which was the only base that wasn't properly protected. Oracle first coming out of here. Spore crawlers, just as last time. Perfect timing. 2 queens in position. Oh, this main base only has 1 now. Oh, no, 2. Second queen pops out. So Oracle not even getting the creep trooper and gets a whole lot of hull damage done. Yeah, that's the opposite of good. But once again, early third base, Overlord goes down in the main base. Classic once again going for the Twilight, but this time slaps down the Forge straight away. So going into a bit earlier upgrades. Last time we saw the Forge way further down the line. This Oracle is really struggling. It hasn't gotten a single drone kill. It's on very low HP, so just gonna retreat home with that one. Maybe put down a stasis ward to be helpful further in the game. But Solar has to be happy with how this game's going. He has great map vision, hasn't taken any damage from the Oracle. Even gets a few probes here in the transfer, 2 probes in total. Nothing here at the third base, so these Lings are just gonna commit in and go for a third probe. And these are the first drone kills. Well, singular, because Solar actually transfuses the drone that this Oracle is getting. More Lings into this third base. Killing 4 probes in total now, so always a worthwhile investment if you can spend the same amount of Lings or the same amount of probes. We see Solar for the going for the Spire here. He has been completely uncontested in his droning and his tech this entire game now. And does decide to go for the Mutalisk play. Classic, on the other hand, blink +1, and he's building the wall prism, which indicates that he probably wants to move out quite soon here. He has a bunch of sentries that have been gathering energy, and now he's going to invest his warpins into stalkers. And that might just work out very well for him, because obviously Solar right now wants to save up to build these Mutalisks, and this move out is happening now. Right now. Blink and +1 are finished. The Spire is done now, and Solar would like to produce Mutas, but 8 Mutas are not going to help with this Blink Stalker Sentry army. So this could get very, very dicey for Solar if Classic plays this right. Emergency Ravagers coming in. Huge next warp in off Stalkers, and we're gonna have to see Classic commit now. I'll blink forward to get into a better position. Force field zoning out the Queens a little bit. A lot of the Zerg army is still able to fire away here, so we're gonna have to see some micro coming out of Classic now. He's taking a very good fight now. 2 corrosive balls connecting on the army there, killing a few sentries, but he's already taken a pretty good fight. He's onto the 4th base now. The Mutas are heading into the main base of Classic, and there's no defenses there, so he's going to take a whole lot of economy damage back at home. But can he break through at the front? Oh, another huge corrosive balls hitting on the sentry. So, oh, the War Prism has to be super careful. There's still Queens. The Queens are now focusing the War Prism, but it lives for the time being. Warpins? Oh, no Warpins back at home, so he's just given up all the probes he has back at home. No cannons, no anti-air whatsoever. And this push at the front, it has taken out the 4th base, but can it take out this army as well here? Yeah, I have to say no here. The reinforcement with the Stalkers, with the Ravagers, have to be enough to clean this up. And oh man, Classic cannot be happy about this. If he just has some sort of defenses back at home to deflect the Mutas, he's dealing very good damage at the front and can go further into this game. But now the Mutas just completely wreck him. The Oracle had to take care of the Zerglings at home, so didn't quite head out just yet. This time heads straight for the 3rd base, which is the only base that doesn't currently have a Spore Crawler. So, yeah, but 2 Queens are well aware of this Oracle flying in. Yeah, goes for it for 1 drone, loses about 50% of its HP here. See, the same build as last time, straight into Twilight Council and Forge. This time around there are 4 adepts, just 4 random adepts, unupgraded, that are going to head across the map. And there are only 4 Zerglings right now, so these adepts, if they're committing their shade anywhere, they're now running into these Queens for now. Okay, so forces a big pull of these drones here, and forced quite a chunk of Zerglings to be made. Yeah, this is already great damage. Like the amount of Zerglings that Solar had to make that were not drones here. See it in the drone count. Solar was pretty much stuck on 50 drones for quite a while now. But now these adepts are getting caught. He's attempting the recall, but maybe 1 got out. I think 1 adept on 2 HP got out of there. But now, for the time being, these Zerglings won't be able to do anything. There are sentries positioned at the 3rd base that will prevent the Zerglings from getting any surface area. And now we see Classic actually learning from last game, sending out 2 Phoenixes that if there was something to see, like the Spire in the last game, they would have seen it now. But it's a different approach from Classic this time around. This time around he is going for the Robo Bay. So as long as Classic doesn't see the Robo Bay, this looks very similar to the last map. But yeah, okay, the Overseer is going to commit in and see what is going on here. Classic now taking the gold base. Droning up to only 69. Nice. Once again tries to... I think this is, yeah, once again a bit of a fake out. Because he's not actually fully committing to the Queen Walk. He is going for the Infestation Pit and Hydra Dance. So wants to go up to the Hive and Lurkers quite early on. This time he's actually going further forward with the Queens though. So trying to make something happen here. Okay, takes care of the Stasis Ward. Shield Battery, we have 1 Shield Battery being done here. Oh, I'm not sure if this is a position that Solar wants to fight into. With the Shield Battery and the lots of Force Fields, seems like a tough fight to take. Blink is done for these Stalkers, and we now have the Disruptors producing. Once the first 2 Disruptors are out, this army does not want to meet Disruptors off of creep. Yeah, and Solar recognizes that now. Goes back to Tekken up, Lair coming down, Lurker then coming down. Classic, meanwhile, attempting to take this 4th base, and it doesn't look like Solar has an immediate answer to this. He does see that it's going down. Oh, Oracle going down after killing 4 drones. So gets a little bit of damage done here. Solar's drone count is not incredible. It's set at a solid somewhere around 70 for the longest time here. But obviously with this gold base being mined, his income is going to be the same as if he was on like 80 plus drones. First Lurkers on the field, and now I'm curious to see how Classic deals with the Lurkers. We have a decent number of Disruptors on the field, 5 Disruptors here. The creep spread for Solar is kind of out of control though. Links onto the gold base, forcing this main army back here. This is a very tricky army, a very tricky Protoss army to control against the Lurkers now. Really have to make use of the Disruptors. But we already have Vipers on the field as well. 2 Vipers, and of course if the Vipers get the Abducts, it's going to cancel the Disruptor shot. So far Solar doing a really good job dodging around here. But now Classic gets into a position where he can at least deny mining of this gold base. Lurkers are in place though. Classic, probably recognizing that he won't be able to break through these Lurkers here, is heading for the Stargate transition. Lurker shots take out a couple of the Ravagers, but none of the Lurkers. Run by attempted by these links. It's going to be denied. Okay, so at least with this move out, Classic got rid of a lot of the creep on the map here. This is not an army that Lurkers can just jump onto just yet, but we see Nidus from going down into the main base of Classic, and Classic is not reacting to this yet. He doesn't even see it yet. Oh, this is terrible news for Classic. Run by at the gold base, also killing stuff, and now this Nidus Worm is done, but not quite unloading anything yet. Oh, now the Lurkers are in there. But now fight at the front happening, abducts on the Disruptors, and there are still Lurkers holding strong here. And anytime soon now, Solar is going to unload in this main base here. It takes out the base at the north here, and this main army is still strong. and has taken care of a lot of the lurkers that were here defensively, and now he's onto the gold base, forward blink. All lurkers in the main though, completely uncontested. And this army is down to very few disruptors. Oh, this one disruptor is going to go down. No disruptors left in this army. Both sides doing significant damage to each other, but Classic has lost his entire attack, and he's going to lose his entire main base here. He's not going to be able to clean this up without significant losses, and now it just looks like the Zerg army back at home with the reinforcements forces Classic to retreat here. Has done significant damage, has taken out the 4th base and the 5th base, but he still needs to clean this one up at home. It's cleared all of the gateways, pretty much all of the tech here for Classic. Oh, and now the drones at the natural also going down. Classic knows that he can't fight this without the stalkers coming in, and even with the stalkers, it's going to be so many losses. He has to blink the stalkers back into the main base. Ah, this is not pretty for the Protoss, and it's going to force Classic to tap out. Solar takes the series 3-0.